Okay, sure, there's a lot of information out there about kids on the autism spectrum, but you ever wondered about adults on the autism spectrum? Maybe you're looking at you, or maybe you're looking at somebody you know. Well, in this video, I'm going to give you 8 traits of Asperger syndrome in adults or autism in adults so that you can understand everything right now. Okay, guys, so before getting into it, my name is Dan, and I have autism and ADHD, and I make weekly videos all about this stuff. So if you want to come along this journey and learn more with us and build this community, hit that subscribe button down below by clicking the notification bell. Okay, so number 1 is difficulty with social interactions. Now, adults on the autism spectrum will display struggles with social communications. Now, I've had this before, and it's not just like with, social cues. It's also to do with suggestions by people or facial expressions. Is somebody angry? Are they sad? Do they want me to continue talking? Am I standing too close to them? This kind of stuff is difficult, but also it's the language in which one uses to portray themselves or put something across. I remember once when I was in work, I was talking to a client, and I was just talking to the client, and my boss said, well, you can't talk to them casually. They're a client. You have to treat them with this utmost respect, and there's all this different stuff. And I was like, oh, holy shoot. I didn't know. I was just trying my best to talk to them, and I talked to them in a way that was kind of informal. So you have formal and informal ways of talking to different groups of people. Again, these whole concepts are so difficult for people on the autism spectrum to grasp. And more importantly, it becomes way more apparent in adults when adults are in adult situations, because adults are supposed to act in a certain way, in a professional manner. And then you go, holy smokes, this is really interesting. But this can also lead to a lot of misunderstanding. Because you got to think about it. If you're an adult on the autism spectrum, you may come across as being rude, or you may come across as being kind of uninterested, or not reading the fact that somebody's upset clearly with you, And so with me in my situation, that did have a knock-on effect. And I believe that it may have, it probably did damage my image of me in the company that I worked at. But hey ho, that's how it goes. Okay, so number 2 is the intense focus of a special interest. Oh my goodness. I love this. An intense focus on a special interest could be like a field of study or a hobby that they're obsessively into. Now, autistic individuals have an extraordinary passion for these things. So it's not just I'm into cars. No. They're really into cars. They like how cars smell. They like how the feeling of car materials. They may have collections of pieces of cars within their domicile or their dorms or wherever they live, right? And this is because the appearance of mass is very good at helping you really understand and learn something. So if you're passionate about something, you're going to collect all those things. And actually, I'm going to do a video on this, how it's not hoarding, it's actually collecting, and the reasons why. But autistic individuals who have obsessive interests will be able to tell you everything there is to know about that specific topic, and we'll probably be able to talk about it for a long, long time, and for many years to come. And this is because they have an intense interest in it, and it aligns with their brain, but it gives them dopamine, because people on the autism spectrum are dopamine deficient. So your friend Larry from work, or maybe you are Larry from work, who is on the autism spectrum, will know a lot about something and can talk about it forever, and that's the only thing that they're really interested in. And I love that. I think this is really interesting because it's something that you can do, that if you're having a bad day or if you're having a meltdown, you can just research your topic of interest, and it'll help regulate you, bring you back to kind of normality in terms of regulation. I have a free Autism Life Hacks PDF book that you can download right now from autismtips.net. It's completely free. You can go there right now and download it. Okay, so number 3 is challenges with non-verbal communication. Now, we're looking at the world through very specific lenses where, I'm blessed to be an autistic man, but I'm able to verbally communicate, right? But not all communication is verbal, right? So about 70% of all communication is non-verbal, which is really interesting, which means it's not spoken word. And that could be down to using gestures, using eye contact. It could be facial expressions that they use to show somebody I'm annoyed at this situation, or I'm happy with the situation, or I'm going to cry or something. And those things can be very difficult if you're engaging in a conversation with somebody and they come across, as maybe being upset with you, and you don't get those conventions because those non-verbal communication cues are missing from your kind of dialect of communication. You're going to have some issues there. And this is very prominent in people on the autism spectrum who are adults because, again, like being in an adult setting, you're going to have issues. Guys, I'm just interrupting this video to talk to you about an amazing company called Comfort. Now, Comfort have made these t-shirts, which are not only sensory pleasing because they're soft and they're nice, and they were invented by an autistic child, and it's a family-run business, but there's something quite magical about these shirts. Now, that is because there is a fidget puppet in the seam of this shirt. So you could be like, your kid could be in a party wearing this, right, and being like super overwhelmed, and they just reach down to the seam and play with the fidget puppet inside the seam of the shirt. This thing is absolutely amazing. I think it's a game changer, and it's going to be something that nobody else has ever seen. Like, it's absolutely just incredible. Now, you can get one of these for the link in my bio. I'm going to leave a link for them in the description down below too. So you can definitely check it out. Now, if you use the code ASPIE10, you can get 10% off your first order. I definitely recommend checking them out. These things sell out so fast, so highly recommend checking them out. All right, guys. Peace. So adults on the autism spectrum have a need for predictability and routine, as do all autistic individuals, but it's easier to kind of like miss a routine in a child. It's more prominent to see a routine in an adult, right? An adult who just eats pizza for lunch or chicken nuggets. Okay, I know. Chicken nuggets is like the international symbol of autism. If you're obsessed with chicken nuggets, or your kid is on the autism spectrum, give this video a thumbs up. I know. I see you. I see you eating chicken nuggets. I eat chicken nuggets all the time. Even though I'm vegan, I have vegan chicken nuggets. Still, absolute slaps. Okay, so if you're, a person who likes just eating one thing, it's a very common autistic trait, just eating that one thing, just sitting in that one spot every day, having that one spot on your sofa, watching the same TV show religiously over and over again, maybe going to the same recreational park to do the same thing, sit down and read the same book or whatever it is. And this is because autistic individuals thrive routine and predictability. Because predictability allows for safety. When you have unpredictability, it causes anxiety and fear, which is a huge one. And actually, I am helping lots of people on my course, Chaos to Confidence, right now with this. So that being said, there's lots of things that will allow a person to become comfortable when you have routine and predictability within your lifestyle. But if you have none, it can become very difficult for autistic people to feel just like safe in an environment, right? Okay, so number 5, one of the biggest issues, sensory sensitivities. Oh my goodness. Along having autism also comes with something called sensory processing disorder, or SPD. And this is comorbid, co-occurring. It means it comes alongside it. When you get the diagnosis, it comes with it. And this is very common. I think I have my personal views on this, and I think that everybody on the autism spectrum has either hypo or hypersensitivity to sensory input. But anyway, I'm digressing. And basically what this means is that people on the autism spectrum as adults, you'll be able to notice that they may smell everything, or they may have massive aversions to certain colognes or perfumes, or they avoid the canteen at dinner time because there's loads of like noise everywhere and they want to kind of sit in the corner on their own, or there's loads of people everywhere, or they'll wear sunglasses because it's so bright everywhere, or they'll wear headphones indoors and sunglasses indoors to get away from the sensory stimuli. But, all of that stuff is caused by the brain's way of, when the neurological paths mended, when an autistic person is being created, the neurological paths just kind of move slightly differently. And that causes for different input of sensory, because it's a communication issue, right? So senses communicating themselves into you to tell you what, do you like a smell? Do you know a sound? Do you like the light? Whatever. All those things can kind of get a bit skewed. And so autistic individuals may feel things more intensely or under intensely. You can actually get hyposensitive autistic people who'd be like sitting on a hot plate and not realize it's getting hot. Or be out in the sun and not realize they're getting burnt. Very interesting, super, super interesting. But it's very more prominent in adults because adults on the autism spectrum display these things on like a magnitude that's more kind of like open and you can see it because these are adults, right? We're all walking around doing stuff. Okay, so number 6, super interesting. Now this is the difficulty understanding abstract concepts. And abstract concept are things like idioms. Idioms are stuff when you say, oh, it's raining cats and dogs. Well, an autistic person, especially an autistic adult, will think you're saying the cats and dogs falling from the sky or throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I don't even know what that means, but I mean, it's an idiom, right, that people use all the time. And idioms are difficult because autistic individuals take things at face value very literally. Now, if you're trying to take something at face value very literally, and in actual fact, what you've got is not very literal, nonsense-based things like idioms, these are going to become startlingly difficult. So people who are on the autism spectrum may really have issues or get very confused with indirect communication where these idioms exist. And you'll notice it that maybe an autistic individual will get confused if you use an idiom or if you use metaphors or if you're being sarcastic in joking terminologies. Autistic individuals may not understand the joke because, again, it's a face value, very literal thing. And this is a good thing as well with autistic individuals, but it's very prominent. It sticks out like a sore thumb. And there you go. There's an idiom for you just to close this section. Okay, so number 7 is social isolation and social exhaustion. Autistic individuals, specifically autistic adults, will have issues in social situations, and the aftermath is crazy. So you can actually get social burnout where an autistic individual, and my girlfriend gets this so much, she travels to an office to work, and when she's in the office, and she only does one day in the office a week, the rest is remote. Thank you, COVID, for giving us the ability to work remotely. This has helped a lot of autistic individuals because my girlfriend is autistic. Now, when she goes to the office, she's okay, she's masking, she's doing all these things. But the day after, she completely feels burnt out and completely melted because the exhaustion from being socially aware around people and having to do all these things then made you want to become socially isolated for that day, but then also leaves you with this burnout and yucky feeling. Now, if this is you, comment down below. Let's talk. I want to help you out. Let's have a communication here. So, number 8 is high levels of honesty and loyalty. This is a really good trait, right? So autistic individuals, especially adults who have gone their whole life taking things at face value and taking things literally, are always very direct and straightforward in their intentions. You're going to find high amounts of loyalty and honesty within autistic individuals because we want to tell you as it is. There is no ambiguity or hidden, reading between the lines. There's none of this stuff because we are who we are, but very transparent. Actually, one of the biggest compliments I ever had was I put on my first ever in-person event with TheAspieWorld, my YouTube channel, called the Autism Social Summit in Canada, and we sold it out. It was awesome back in April. And everyone said to me, "Wow, Dan, you're exactly the same in video as you are in real life." And it was such a humbling experience because it shows that, like, what I'm saying here about being honestly true and transparent is exactly who we are, right? And I love doing that. That's why I'm uploading more vlogs on my channel. I want to show you what it's like, struggling as an autistic adult and your daily life tasks, or having children, all these things difficult. So make sure you do subscribe. All right, guys. Peace.